This week we've got fights, injuries, ejections, and much more right after this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching. I'm glad you're watching. I'm Caroline Haney with 5 Things Sports, bringing you 5 sports highlights for the week of October 16th through October 22nd, 2017. First up this week, we've got the MLB playoffs update for you. The Dodgers knocked off the reigning world champion Chicago Cubs 4-1. Chris Taylor and Justin Turner were named co-MVPs for the NLCS. Here are a few highlights to show you how they earned that honor.
And a fly ball well hit to center field. Almora going back to the wall. It's a home run to win it. Turner with a fly ball to center field. It's way back at the wall. A 3-run walk-off home run for Justin Turner.
This is way back, and it is gone. It is a walk-off home run for Justin Turner. Grew up a Dodger fan, now he's part of Dodger history.
Justin Turner currently has a .495 on-base percentage, the highest in the MLB history, topping out Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth for that honor. So this is the first time the Dodgers have made it to the World Series since 1988. They have made it to the playoffs 10 times in those years. That is the longest stretch for a team to make it to the playoffs but not reach the World Series. Over in the ALCS, it did take all 7 games for the Astros to top the Yankees to make it to the World Series. This is the second time in franchise history the Astros have made it to the World Series, the last time being in 2005 when they went as a National League team. They actually switched from the National League to the American League in 2013. And in last week's episode, you might have heard me mention Verlander in reference to the Dodgers. That was an error. I misread my notes. But Verlander did have an incredible series against the Yankees, pitching a total of 16 innings, recording 21 strikeouts and just 1 earned run. Verlander was named the ALCS MVP. But I've also got to give a quick shout out to Jose Altuve, the second baseman for the Astros. At 5'6", he is the shortest player in the MLB. However, he brings quite the spark to the Astros, both on offense and defense. Here are a few highlights of his from the series.
Hard hit off the glove of Gonzalez. And now a 2-2 from Robertson is hit in the air to left. Back at the wall. It's gone.
It just got over the wall into the Crawford box seats, and the littlest guy in the field will touch them all.
Well, between the great pitching for Verlander of the Astros and Clayton Kershaw from the Dodgers, this ought to be an incredible World Series, especially when you mix in the offense of Altuve and Turner and Taylor. The World Series kicks off on Tuesday night. We hope to see lots of great baseball in the next week. Number 2 this week, the NBA officially started their new season this week. It's kind of gotten off to a rough start in the NBA. The reigning champion Warriors are 1-2 already. Both the Warriors and the Cavs had a double-digit loss on Saturday. This is the first time both teams have had a double-digit loss on the same day since Christmas Day 2014. In the Warriors' loss Saturday night, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant were ejected at the end of the game. Steph Curry for throwing his mouthpiece in the direction of the referee. You can see him throwing the mouthpiece there. Now Curry says that he was not aiming at the referee, that if he was trying to throw it at the referee, he would have hit him, but he did apologize, saying it wasn't appropriate. And then Kevin Durant apparently made a comment after that. And Kevin Durant going off the court, you can see, no, he's not flicking the crowd off. He's actually pointing to his ring finger, not his middle finger. That probably didn't go over real well. There have also already been some significant injuries in the league. Gordon Hayward of the Celtics underwent surgery this week for a dislocated left ankle and a fractured tibia, as well as Jeremy Lin, who is also likely out for the rest of the season. He ruptured his patellar tendon this week. Number 3 this week is your college football update. Now, there were actually only 2 matchups within the top 25 this week, and there were no upsets from teams from outside the top 25. Number 2, Penn State, was at home against number 19, Michigan, hosting the Whiteout there in the stadium. Penn State went on to win 42-13. Michigan's quarterback was sacked 7 times, and Heisman candidate Saquon Barkley had 3 touchdowns in the game, including this bobbler he was able to pull in.
Going to drop that one, a couple of bobbles.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Have your Heisman moment.
There you go.
Number 11, Southern Cal, was at number 13, Notre Dame. Notre Dame won 49-14 at home against the Trojans. This win no doubt helped the Fighting Irish break into the top 10 in rankings this week as they moved up to number 9. And though it's a team that's not in the top 25, I do need to bring up the Tennessee Vols. Though they lost 45-7 to the Alabama Crimson Tide, after 12 quarters without a touchdown, they did finally score one touchdown. 12 quarters without a touchdown is actually an NCAA record, so maybe they are moving in the right direction. At least the touchdown was scored against the number 1 team in the country. I do feel like that signifies progress. Number 4 this week. After starting the season with a strong 5-0, the Kansas City Chiefs have now fallen to 5-2, losing 2 games in 4 days. The first one was last Sunday to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then on Thursday night to the Oakland Raiders. It's kind of a crazy game Thursday night when midway through the second quarter, this play happened where Marcus Peters was flagged for coming in with a late hit. The Raiders' offensive line was really not too happy about him beating up on their quarterback. And then this happened where Marshawn Lynch, who was actually on the sidelines, not even in the play, comes in to defend not his quarterback or his offensive line, but Marcus Peters, who is actually his cousin. In the process, he also grabbed hold of a referee. He was promptly ejected from the game and has now been given a 1-game suspension, which of course he has appealed, so who knows when he'll actually serve it or if he actually will serve it. This brings us to our question of the week. Do you think a 1-game suspension is a good enough suspension for this? Did it really teach him his lesson, or should it have been longer? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And when things were just starting to turn around for the Arizona Cardinals since they acquired Adrian Peterson last week, things took a turn for the worse this week as quarterback Carson Palmer went out of the game with a broken left arm. Unfortunately, he is most likely done for the season. And number 5 this week, if you've watched this show for long, you probably know I'm not the biggest fight fan, but I do try to stay informed so that I can keep you informed of what's going on. So I want to show you just a little bit from this week's UFC featherweight fight between Artem Lobov and Andre Fili, where the ref stopped, more like paused the fight for just a minute to tell Conor McGregor to take a seat. I've never seen anything quite like this in sports. Just, hey, you guys, just take a break for a second while I go handle this. Let me know what the craziest pause in sports you remember is in the comments down below. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, I hope you like and subscribe and share this video with a friend. If you missed last week's episode, you can check it right here. I'm Caroline Haney for 5 Things Sports, and I'll see you next week.